Welcome to Mr. Horror, where we explore the darkest corners of reality and uncover stories that are not only disturbing, but true. Tonight, I have three spine-chilling tales from the United States. Stories that have left lingering questions, scarred countless lives, and fill us with a dread that's hard to shake. We'll visit a house marked by pure evil, government experiments that make your worst nightmares seem like daydreams. And finally, the tragic and disturbing story of a woman whose last moments left the world in shock. Get comfortable, but not too comfortable. As we dive into these tales, you might realize the darkness isn't as far as you thought. This is Mr. Horror. Chapter 1. The Amityville Horror. Amityville, New York, 1974. In a quiet, modest house at 112 Ocean Avenue, something dark was about to happen. Ronald DeFeo Jr., a young man with a troubled past, took a rifle one night and killed his entire family as they slept, his parents and 4 siblings. The question of why he did it still haunts the town of Amityville. Was it mental illness, drugs, or something darker? A year later, the Lutz family moved into what they believed would be their dream home. But what they found was a living nightmare. From the moment they stepped inside, they felt it, an overwhelming, oppressive energy. Kathy Lutz claimed she would wake up with unexplained bruises, while her husband George was haunted by the chilling sound of footsteps in the hallway outside their bedroom every night. Things escalated quickly. Kathy reported seeing red, glowing eyes in the darkness, watching her. One night, their daughter Missy claimed her imaginary friend Jody was in her room. But Missy described Jody not as a person, but as a pig with red eyes that could vanish into thin air. George's personality began to change too. He became irritable, isolated, and obsessed with the house itself. Strangest of all, he'd wake up every night at exactly 3:15 a.m., the same time Ronald DeFeo carried out his murders. Within just 28 days, the Lutz family fled the house in the middle of the night, leaving everything behind. To this day, their story remains one of the most famous haunted house cases in history. Many have tried to debunk it, explain it as a hoax or overactive imaginations. But one thing is clear. Something truly terrifying happened at 112 Ocean Avenue, something that still chills the hearts of all who hear the story. Was it the house, the land, or a curse that still lingers there, waiting for its next victim? Chapter 2. MKUltra. The CIA's Mind Control Experiments. The 1950s, a time when paranoia ruled the world and the United States was locked in a tense struggle against the Soviet Union. But while most of the country's battles were fought on foreign soil, one took place much closer to home, in the hidden labs of the CIA. It was called Project MKUltra, a top-secret mind control program, and it remains one of the most disturbing chapters in American history. The CIA's goal was to perfect the art of controlling human minds. To do this, they conducted experiments so twisted and unethical that it's hard to believe they actually happened. They tested LSD on unsuspecting people, students, patients in mental institutions, even civilians off the street. These people had no idea they were being used as test subjects. Some went insane, others lost their memories completely, their personalities changed forever. One of the most horrifying cases involved Dr. Ewen Cameron, a psychiatrist in Montreal, Canada. Funded by the CIA, Dr. Cameron used a method he called psychic driving. Patients were strapped to beds, sedated, and forced to listen to looped recordings for days, sometimes even weeks. Imagine hearing a single phrase repeated hundreds of thousands of times, unable to move, unable to think, until it broke down your mind. Some patients left his care unable to remember their own families, with no memory of who they were. Another disturbing aspect of MKUltra was its goal of creating Manchurian candidates, people who could be programmed to act against their own will. The CIA wanted to use these subjects as spies, assassins, people who could be triggered to kill without remembering anything afterward. To this day, some believe the program never fully stopped, that MKUltra merely went deeper underground. Officially, the program was shut down in the 1970s, but many files were destroyed, leaving the full extent of the horrors committed unknown. How many lives were shattered? How many minds lost? We may never know the whole truth. But one thing is certain, MKUltra left a legacy of fear, secrecy, and the terrifying knowledge that sometimes the scariest monsters are not in horror movies, but in the halls of power. Chapter 3: The Mysterious Death of Elisa Lam. Los Angeles, California, 2013. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student, checked into the infamous Cecil Hotel, a place already notorious for suicides, murders, and connections to serial killers like Richard Ramirez. But Elisa's story would soon add another layer of darkness to the hotel's twisted reputation. Elisa was last seen in elevator footage that has since become one of the internet's most disturbing mysteries. In the video, she enters the elevator, looking confused, even frightened. She presses several buttons, but the elevator doesn't close. She peeks out cautiously, as if someone or something is watching her. Then she steps back, presses more buttons, and stands against the wall, her behavior becoming more erratic by the second. At one point, she steps out, waving her arms in strange motions, as if talking to someone invisible. After that, Elisa vanished. For weeks, her family and the police searched for her, with no leads, until hotel guests started complaining about the water. Strange color, odd smell, low pressure. When maintenance workers checked the water tanks on the roof, they found Elisa's body floating inside. She was naked, with her clothes floating beside her. The rooftop was heavily secured, with locked doors and alarmed staircases. How did she get up there? How did she climb into a water tank so high and heavy that it would have taken significant effort? The police ruled her death an accidental drowning, possibly a result of her bipolar disorder. But many aren't convinced. Theories range from paranormal interference to a conspiracy involving a mysterious figure seen near the hotel. Some believe Elisa was influenced or even controlled by something sinister. The Cecil Hotel itself has a long history of death, pain, and tragedy, and many say its walls carry an evil that consumes the souls that step inside. The video of Elisa's final moments, her strange behavior, her tragic end, all remain an unsolved mystery, leaving a haunting reminder that sometimes the most terrifying questions don't have answers. These stories remind us that true terror isn't just something we find in horror movies. Sometimes the worst nightmares are the ones we can't explain, the ones rooted in the real world, in history, in places we can actually visit. If these stories sent a chill down your spine, don't forget to subscribe to Mr. Horror for more dark mysteries, true horror, and real-life legends. Here, we explore the unknown and bring the shadows right to your screen.